Prime time, Tallahassee, homecoming. Oops. Oops. I didn't mean to schedule one of our, I don't know, 3 toughest opponents on the schedule for homecoming. But that's what you got. Florida State 21, Duke 0. That is the series history here. Blue Devils looking to do something they have not done once, and that is defeat the Florida State Seminoles. Florida State, of course, coming off an absolute bludgeoning of Syracuse. Duke just beat NC State with its backup quarterback. And only 6 pass completions, I believe. Don't have
6
those
of 18, I think he was.
Yeah, 6 of 14, yeah. 6 of 18, something like that.
Deacon Hill.
Yeah. Well, go ahead.
For Belen?
Yeah.
4 of 12.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was 33%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was low. It was lower than that. You guys are giving him too much credit.
I mean, it rained a ton.
Right.
Yeah.
In that one. And once Duke got some turnovers, they kind of put it into autopilot mode. Turnovers by NC State. But yeah, it is worth noting that half of Duke's yards came on 2 plays.
Yeah. Didn't have to do much.
Kind of a weird game.
But where do you think this one's going to be decided? What's the most important matchups to get into for Florida State and Duke?
Before we get to matchups, Bud, can I ask you, because you are always the one that information is key. Riley Leonard, like percent chance he goes, doesn't go?
So putting some pieces together, last week Elko said he was day-to-day, and then guy warmed up a little bit, warmed up with a pretty good limp, it looked like, when he was walking around. Last time on the radio show, he said he had returned to practice and was throwing it around a little bit, and that there was a chance that he could play in this game. Duke has Louisville coming up, and they also have a short rest game at Wake. So this is still, if they don't play him, they still have a chance to have a pretty special season, right? They only have 1 loss. I listened to Florida State defense coordinator Adam Fuller, and he was extremely complimentary of Leonard's legs. And I thought it was notable that that's kind of what he brought up first, right? Like the guy was a legitimate basketball prospect. If he doesn't have the legs, is that smart for Duke to play him? And Elko acknowledged that last night. He's like, look, he could get to a point where like he could play, but like, should he play for both for his health this year and for his health in the future? I don't think he's going to play personally.
And how does that change the outlook for the game? I mean, is that just night? You don't have Riley Leonard, then you don't even have a chance to keep this close. It's not how I see the game, but I want to hear what your take is on this.
I mean, look, there are outcomes in which maybe Duke gets a bunch of turnovers, right? But what's a reasonable expectation for Duke's backup to score in Tallahassee? Absent a lot of short fields, somewhere between 10 and 17 points.
Yeah, which has been fine since Duke's only allowing 9 points per game.
Yeah, which we'll see if they can sustain that. A couple things about this matchup that I think we should probably discuss. So Graham Barton, who's mocked as a big-time tackle prospect for Duke, he was hurt for a while, came back. His numbers have not been very good. So I'm wondering if he's trying to gut it out and play through something. And that could be a difficult thing because he plays tackle for them. And that's, Jared Verse and Pat Payton at night and Doe Campbell. Like, that's a difficult assignment. I think Duke's extremely well coached, by the way, on both sides of the ball. Like, Kevin Johns, their OC, does a great job. He tries to create free opportunities. They'll mix tempo. They're like a really veteran group. They can run a lot of different stuff on you and to try to create those freebies. But I don't know how many points they can reasonably score with a backup in this game. And then I go to the other side. Who's the best receiver Duke's played this year? Somebody on NC State?
No.
Fan base hates their receiver. Somebody on Notre Dame? No, all those guys were out. Somebody on Clemson?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think the answer is game 1, Antonio Williams. But, Miles Jones and Al Blades Jr. locked him up.
Miles Jones healthy?
Oh, you think he's not healthy?
I watched that entire game. Duke NC State. I would encourage everybody to go watch the last 5 minutes of that thing.
How about you just tell us?
Yeah, why don't you?
I think he's dinged.
Okay.
TV copy cuts off, but he tags the helmet as he pulls up a little limp. Kind of, and he missed what, the UConn game and Notre Dame game. So I don't know. I mean, it's I am curious as to if Duke can play the style they want to play against what FSU has on the outside. I don't know, because right now they have not faced that.
Do you think they get to Jordan before they can make plays? Yeah. But he's so elusive, though. He can get away from some of that pressure. That to me is the key to the game.
I don't think they can hold FSU under 30.
No one else has.
Right.
No, this is the best.
You scored 30 at Clemson. Clemson's defense is a lot better than Duke's.
Yeah.
Clemson had 460 yards in Durham?
And then
they just had a boatload of red zone turnovers.
Right. Florida State team total over is what Bud's saying. He's disrespecting Mike Elko and the Blue Devils. Danny, I think that Duke's defensive front against Florida State's offensive line can be problematic. I think that Duke is not going to be able to match up with Keon Coleman on the outside, and he's going to rip off a couple of big plays. But I think they are strong enough on the secondary that if that first look isn't there, Duke gets out there and does not look out of place in terms of physicality or athleticism, even against teams that we have always considered way more talented, way more athletic. And I think that sort of approach that they have, especially on the defensive side of the football, I think that can travel. I think that there's the chances of Duke being able to keep this close, take this thing into the fourth quarter, and whether it's a hobbled or limited Riley Leonard, whether it is Henry Beelan IV, all hail the king. We will see them be able to have an opportunity if Duke's defensive front is able to get pressure on Travis. And I think they can.
It's good.
Yeah. I think that they are very, very good. And I think the Florida State's offensive front at times has gotten a little mixed up.
And it's not as good as Clemson or LSU though. And they've already faced two of those teams, and they scored 45 on LSU and 31 in Death Valley. I think that's the point.
The thing that worries me a little bit is Elko's so good. Jordan Travis does have a tendency, and we saw it in LSU where it didn't burn him. He kind of throws the ball up for grabs. I don't know if he's trying to throw it away sometimes, or he's just trying to make a play. Is like a pick six, just a foolish interception that, would, all of a sudden you find yourself and maybe, you give them some momentum, or you get short fields, those types of plays. That's the thing that concerns me. And Elko's defense has shown the ability to do that. Trey Durham has been awesome at them for linebacker, had a pick last week against NC State. Elko's a legit dude. He'll game plan something to try to confuse him. But I do agree with Bud. There's some talent. Johnny Wilson's back. You got massive size advantage. Keon Coleman's been incredible. Now he's starting to get use on special teams. I do feel pretty good about where Florida State is winning the game. The number, I don't know. I'm not, as long as they win, they win. But I don't know. By the way, Jordan Travis trying to catch my career touchdown number. Did you see that?
Rooting against him?
Well, I wouldn't do that. I would never do that.
But
they're giving him credit for it. Hold on. He has 59. I had 57 officially. Hold on.
I gotta see what this is gonna be.
We got.
Do you guys read this?
Yeah.
What does that say?
It says Danny Cannell, Orange Bowl record, 4 touchdown passes. Florida State.
Apparently they didn't happen because they don't count. They don't count. So this ball.
Oh, that's right, because bowl game stats didn't count back then.
Exactly. So technically, he's still trying to catch me. Although they officially gave him credit for catching me already in the last broadcast.
Fake
Not that
news.
I'm upset or anything.
Fake news.
The guys to watch for Duke, I think, are largely Carter and Oben are, I think, guys who have a real chance to get drafted.
Dwayne Carter. We're talking about the defensive side.
Yeah, Dwayne Carter and Oben, who's dad was obviously a really good player.
My teammate.
Duke does have some real players. It's a different challenge for them.
Sure.
I think, based on the schedule they've played.
My thing with this game is I think Florida State's going to win because Riley Leonard's not playing. And to me, that is a very serious handicap for Duke, especially because defensively, one area Florida State's been routinely exploited is in quarterback scrambling. So you don't have Riley Leonard there, and that is a big deal. But I don't know how healthy Jordan Travis is either. Like, he hasn't been great since suffering the shoulder injury in the Clemson game. Like, every single week, there's an incredible Keon Coleman catch, and we marvel at the Keon Coleman catch because he's leaping in the air and making crazy one-handed grabs. We're not paying attention to the fact he's being overthrown by 10 feet and jumping up to get it. Like, Jordan Travis has been inaccurate lately, and I don't know, like, against this defense, like Mike Elko, we've talked about it, is a very good defensive coordinator. He schemes things up really well. He confuses quarterbacks. I'd be more worried about it if Jordan Travis is a freshman, but with as much experience as he has, I don't think he's going to see anything this weekend that he hasn't seen. It's just, if he's not 100% healthy and he's inaccurate, this is the kind of defense that will make you pay for all of these things. Plus, they get pressure on opposing quarterbacks, and will he, kind of panic? I don't know. I don't think Duke has enough offensively to win this game. I do think they have enough defensively to make things uncomfortable. And if Florida State gets loose with the football, it could become a problem. But the good news is, if you're Florida State, you've done a really good job of taking care of the football this year. Turnovers have not been a problem for this Seminoles team. So if it happens, it'll be very out of character.
You know what's underrated in this game? Because we give Mike Elko a ton of credit. Mike Norvell's a really good play caller too. Like, and he'll use some misdirection. He loves running the counter. Like, he'll have a way to get rid of the football early, to take some shots. They'll get some shot plays too.
I think FSU's pretty fresh. They've rotated a lot of guys over, like it was bye week, Vatek, Syracuse. Freshman played a bunch of snaps last 2 weeks. I feel pretty good about this.
Bud feels good. It's homecoming.
I mean, I think they'll score 40.
What could go wrong?
But wouldn't it be?
Wouldn't it?
I feel better after your assessment of Riley Leonard.
Here's the other problem. Are you more like, who should be more worried? FSU's O-line against Duke's D-line?
Or Duke's offensive line?
Or Duke's offensive line, which got wrecked by Notre Dame, now going on the road.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be? I don't know. We'll see.
Chips wouldn't be hilarious if had been just killing it.
I don't want to cast that on this game right now. Okay, and just
maybe tomorrow.